We've got a lot of stuff going on with the kids right now, so it's hard to get time during the week to work on anything. But I did get a chance to finish out a couple of the windows on the east side or the front of the house. So the upstairs and the downstairs are all trimmed out. The window trims are all done for that. I tried to get the south wall, the south gable wall, I tried to get that done. I wasn't able to get that done during the week. I actually had some trouble with the lift. I had to make some repairs to that. But I've got one of those done, and I've got some of the starter strip on that already. So we've got to jump on that today. I only have a few more windows that I can actually do because I'm waiting on some replacement pieces for some of the window lineals. Some of them were damaged. The boxes, they drove staples into the boxes, and some of the staples went through the cardboard and caught the faces of those lineals. So they're sending me new ones of those. But until I get those, a little bit on hold for finishing out a few more of the windows. So today I'm going to have to kind of jump around a little bit. I'll work on the south wall windows. I've got 2 windows I can do on the west side of the house, and then I can do the 3 dining room windows. I've got those pieces already as well. But I won't be able to do the garage windows, and there's a couple of the bigger windows on the house that I still can't do. So I'll work on getting through those today. What I'd also like to do is finish up some of the trim metal around the chimney. So I have to transition from wall flashing to angled wall flashing back to squared wall flashing, and around that chimney area where the chimney comes up through the porch roof. So I'm going to try to get that done today, and at least this weekend. And if I can get all that done, I would love to get to doing a story pole and maybe start setting our starter strip. So enough talking about it. It's probably a good time for us to get started. For attaching our starter strip and our lineals, I chose to go with a self-piercing lath screw. This is kind of a wafer head screw. normally used for laths, for screwing lath onto wood or something that's light gauge metal. It has a pretty sharp tip, and that allows it to drill right into a lighter gauge stud. And so we're running those through, and they'll come through the track every now and again. So this is our starter strip. You can see where one of them landed right into the stud, right in the track, I should say, of the window, next to one of the windows. Now this is a regular screw that screwed the sheathing to the window frame, but here's another one of the self-piercing lath screws that came through that piece of track. So we only have 5/8 inch sheathing, and we've got about a 1/4 inch foam, but we're still using an 1.5 inch screw. And the reason for that is that when an inspector comes, he'll be able to see these screws poking through the sheathing. So I've got the south gable wall done. I put all the lineals on that, and I need the window, door, and starter strip to go around the next 2 windows that are on the back side of the house. So I'm going to cut those. I also need to put the miters into those for those 2 windows as well. So I've got a little bit of work that I can do in the garage, get out of the heat for a little bit. So I'm kind of thankful for that. All right, it's day 2. Yesterday, I've got a couple of the window lineals put up. I actually went ahead and cut all of the starter strip for all the rest of the windows. So this morning I knocked out the side garage windows. I put the starter strip on those, and I've got the benches out to do that. So I went ahead and set the benches up here. We're gonna do these 3 dining room windows. I've actually got the starter strip, and I have the lineals to do these. So we'll be able to finish these windows out. I didn't get as much done yesterday. I actually, later in the afternoon, started to work on cutting the metal trim to go up around the chimney. That's a little bit of a complicated situation. I'll walk you through that as soon as I can get up there on the roof. Yesterday I was kind of sliding a bit. It's just from the pollen and stuff like that, just sitting on the panels. So this morning I got up there with a mop and some dish soap and washed the panels off. They are always moist in the morning from the condensation coming down off of the upstairs, the second roof, comes down onto the lower roof, and then just they condense a little bit as well. We get a nice cool damp night. So it takes a little bit for the air to kind of dry those panels out. So first thing this morning I got up there, washed them down so they could dry, and as soon as they're dry I'll go ahead and get up there and work on some of that metal trim, and I'll walk you through that detail a little bit. I don't love it, but we'll walk through it anyways. So let's go knock out these windows while we wait on the roof to dry. All right, let's see if I can explain this. I'm gonna give it a try. So hopefully I'm able to kind of show you what we have around this chimney and why it isn't kind of a straightforward installation. So this is our chimney face coming down, and then we come away from that with our ribs running downhill. And this is a 412 pitch on this. So we have our wall flashing bent at it's actually technically bent at a 212, but you can make it work for a 412. So what's happening is when you lay this piece on, this is how it would normally get installed. Is it would normally sit on top of these highs, and you would put foam underneath these closers. But coming down this surface, our wall flashing comes down and it lays on this part of our panel on the lows, and so that's going to be 3/4 of an inch lower than this piece, and I couldn't figure out how to get those to be on the same plane so they would meet up at the corners, and how I would make that transition from being on the highs to being on the lows. What I came up with is cutting a piece and notching out these 3/4 highs. So taking the highs out of the panels, notching these out, and letting this flange of the wall flashing sit on the flat part of the panels, and then that way it's going to meet up on this flat part of the panel with our angle flashing. So to do that, I try to cut a little bit of just a corner in here. If I had it to do over again, I may have not cut this piece and let it fold up or something, but it's not really going to matter. We've got this wall flashing already installed first. And remember, we're always working in layers. So we did this wall flashing first. It comes all the way up to here. This wall flashing is going to lay on top of that one so that our water sheds out. So I cut the corner on that so that it could sit into our corner of our sheathing. I notched out this piece so that it will fit over top of this wall flashing. And then I've marked all of these highs. The way that I do that is I use my square and set it into there. Now it's on an angle technically for this 3/4 of an inch, but that's actually good. It makes sure that my cut isn't gonna nick or touch this painted surface of this panel. So it should be just outside of this high when we make these notch outs. So I'm gonna cut all these notches and then we'll lay this panel down and you'll see kind of how this works. All right, so we took our notches out. I guess we're about to see how we did. So that's how it will look. The highs come up over these, or the notches that we put in there come up over these highs, and then we come out to where we'll meet up with our next piece of wall flashing. So I think this looks pretty good. I'll go with this. I didn't want to cut them real tight. Because I really didn't want it to I didn't want it to touch on these highs. I wanted to kind of stay off of these. What I think I'll do is take a piece of foam and put the foam behind where this is going to sit, so this will sit down on the foam and it'll keep any water from splashing up and getting up into there. I'm probably not going to seal or put the butyl tape on this bottom flange for that reason. If water gets in here, it'll have a way to drain out. So we'll tack this down, you know, probably in between these panels. I'll tack it down, but I'll have that foam, just that regular foam that we use on the ridge caps. I'll put that in behind here. Okay, we've got our angle cut, so we can turn this corner where we've scribed it and brought this up here. So remember, you got to be careful the sheathing here. I don't have a hard corner. I probably should have put or could have put the angle flashing going up this. I actually put it on the inside of the plywood. Had I put it on the outside, I put it on the inside so that I could bring it down out on the roof, and if water ever got in behind this corner, that it would never go into the house. But by doing that, I don't have a real hard corner here. So this metal is actually making that hard corner. So I make sure that I mark it down here, and then I carry that measurement up. Another thing, don't forget to cut this. This is a slope coming up, so you're going to have to put this 412 back on here, and I actually do about a 4.5 12 just to make sure that I'm not hitting into here or hitting into the bottom of this piece that's going to come down. So we'll bring our next piece down. This piece of angle flashing will go against the wall. It's going to be an actual 90 instead of having that bend for the slope on it. And this will come down and lay over top of this, and then we'll be able to mark where these two intersect out in this corner. We'll be able to cut and clean up this corner here, and we'll cut that 45 on the piece of the angle flashing that's coming down the hill. That finishes off our dining room lineals. Sun's getting pretty low in the sky. It's still a little bit warm. I got a little bit of daylight left. I'm going to try to jump up onto the chimney, get that last little bit of trim metal done on that, and see if I can get kind of in a good place there. I had to put the lift in a very particular place to get all the way up there, so I want to go ahead and take care of that while the lift is where it's at right now. So I'm probably not going to take the camera up there because I don't have a long battery life, and it's going to be a couple of hours of just whittling away on some scrap metal that I've got. until I can get that to work. It's a really small cricket, and it's a really small detail going around, so it's more meticulous, probably pretty boring. So I'm going to spare you that. But I think that's going to about do it for this video for this weekend. And I really appreciate you watching. For those of you that are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. If you're new, I hope this was an entertaining video, and you know, you'd be encouraged to subscribe. But that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Just kidding. I almost forgot. I never even screwed off one of the windows, and I've got a lot of this to put on the wall. So that's actually, I'll probably work on that chimney metal, and then I'll be taping some flashing and finishing off a window that I never screwed down. But after that, we're going to call it a day. So thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.